Welcome to Stirred Up.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Heather.
We're two Midwest corporate pros and moms juggling boardrooms by day and ballparks by night.
But here, it's happy hour, and we're trading conference rooms for craft beer. This season, expect more tea spilling and real talk.
About the important stuff and the bullshit that comes with it. This is our version of Girls Night Out.
And you're not just invited, you're our VIP. It's where we throw back, talk smack, and laugh until we pee.
Where we spill a little, spin a little, and overshare a lot.
Because the only rail we're staying on is the bar rail. So grab a drink, you little party animal.
And let's get this shit stirred up. Alexa, stop. Okay, listen to that more. Alexa, stop.
It's basically like, I'll be your friend. I'll take you under my wing. I'll be your father figure. I'll do all the things for me. Just behave the way you want to behave. Mm-hmm. My little figure fiend. My little protege.
I like that. What's your favorite?
That one.
That is your favorite? Figure. Oh my God, really? Okay, so
Father fucking figure.
I'm kind of like surprised, but Ophelia is sort of my like...
My niece is named Ophelia, and I think she's the greatest thing in the whole world, so I have a hard time separating my tiny little niece, who's 3.
Understand.
With the song.
But I kind of like the jam of it. Like
jam.
I start to get like jam.
Everything's a jam. The wood's a jam. Like the way it starts out, like feeling very Jackson 5.
And I have it in my head a lot. Like I really like that.
Redwood Tree isn't hard to see. New Heights, Manhood.
I very much love that.
You hear Kylie Kelsey's comment?
I'm here for the pop culture of it all.
I know you are. I'm okay. So it's all good for me. Like I like wood. I like honey. Yeah. Anybody who called me honey or sweetheart was a passive aggressive. That's our life and business.
So
sweetheart, honey, dear, David Lester. You don't have to bleep him. He can fucking sue me, bitch. He has a wife and 3 daughters, and he's the greatest man, one of the greatest men I know. He was one of the only people I ever
allowed to call you honey.
Whatever the endearment term was,
I have a couple of those. I allowed
it because it came from such a place of our values. Genuine. Our values are aligned as human beings. It was very genuine. It came from a place of like. He's also somebody who told me in my career this was interesting. I think I told you this.
So I just gotta say, some people are saying
Shut up, Brewster. You sound like the fucking chickens.
We won't put you in the pot, I promise. Some people are saying it out of endearment, and some people are saying it out of condemnation.
Condescending cunts.
Yes. So when he's saying it out of way of like, I'll fucking go to bat for you, then you know
hey,
that.
Hey, sweetheart, we're in this together. Hey,
okay, this is gonna be a show.
This is gonna be a deal.
This is gonna be a show.
I had it today. Okay. I've had panic attacks. I'm losing it over here.
I interrupted your story. Did you want to continue the story about David Lester?
No, I like honey. I like that song. I like wood. I like father figure. I like eldest daughter. Most of the women I'm friends with, I'm married. My sister.
I like canceled. I like everything that people aren't like hyping on. I like all of the other ones.
I also like her like art's art, and like there's going to be certain points in your life where you relate to my art, and certain points of my life where you don't relate to the art, and I'm not the art police. So like, fuck you either way.
Yeah, your I'm putting this out in the world.
Your conversation drives. And that's what I think about this podcast.
That was her
response. You motherfuckers who aren't liking and subscribing, but we know you're following and trolling.
Keep it up, bitches.
Keep it up, bitches. Don't be shy. And don't be shy. We're so fucking smart. Jessica will figure out who you are if you fucking like it or not. Even if you pretend you don't watch our show, we know who watches our show. We'll target you.
I've been snooping.
I know.
No, there's only so much you can find out.
I know.
But do keep a watching. Do keep a talking.
Do be a comment.
They're coming out of the woodwork, let me tell you.
They are coming out.
I like it. Keep it coming.
We fucking love you. We know you exist. We know people with...
And I'm here for it.
We're fucking here for it, okay? We're here for it. I also wrote down Taylor Swift, wood, redwood tree. Woo!
Okay, so officially, that was funny.
Knock on wood.
Officially, the eggplant emoji got demoted, and the wood emoji That's
a fucking movement. She's an icon.
I love that for her.
I need to talk to you about a couple things.
Okay, give it to me. I really feel like after a year, we have just gotten into a rhythm, and I feel like this is our rhythm. You go through your notes and try to figure out where we're at.
Oh, this is what I wanted to tell you.
Okay, tell me.
When I was losing it.
Heather had a mild panic attack today.
No. Worst one I've had since I went to the partial.
Oh, no.
But I'm out and about. Look at me.
You don't leave me hanging, bitch.
The fact that I got you to high five, like you were really part of a sports team at one time. So
what?
We never high fived at work. What did we do at work when we really like nailed something? Did we like when we first met each other and we celebrated? What did we do?
I don't know. I'm a big fan of high fives. Yeah.
I'm also going to Houston tomorrow with the anonymous friend.
Okay, so that's exciting.
I'm very excited. First, it was I didn't know.
Let context because we don't know when this will air. First context is that the government shut down.
The government shut down, and we're not sure we're going to get out on our flights. We also had planned to go on a mother-daughter's trip to New York City and like do all of the things that I love to do the most. But at the end of the day, that was going to cost the way that we want to do it.
Is a mother-daughter trip? Boys coming?
Yeah, that's where it started.
Yeah, like what's the current?
Now it's me and my oldest and her baby girl. So me and my oldest son and her baby girl, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So I don't actually have I personally... I go to Houston every 4 to 6 weeks. It's like going to the cabin for me. So, like, I'm not...
This is such a 1%er thing, though, too. Like, let me get on my jet and go to Houston.
Okay. I'm sorry that your best friend didn't move to Houston. And that you don't have a 95-degree spa to go to at any given moment, and she doesn't even know what time we're coming tomorrow. Nothing.
Is she listening?
No. Yeah, she is. The only time she has to herself is when it's in her ears.
Yeah,
I remember.
We'll just figure it out. I was just curious.
Before you transferred to, I was thinking about our own customer journey with podcasts, though. Like you've always listened to the Smarty Business ones. I've listened to the Smarty Business ones. Brand moves, CMO moves. Marketing Vanguard.
I'm like kind of over everything smart though.
Me too. I want to dumb it the fuck down.
I want some Theo Von who's bringing in Ken Burns, by the way. Like the Theo Von Ken
when he said that, my mother was the hardest worker I knew.
It was such a good podcast. And then he was on
Theo.
Yeah. Remember how you told me who Theo Von was? And I was like, I don't know. This guy's such a bro and he's a little bit annoying. Like I actually thought he was a child. And then
goes, how old is he? 12?
Yeah, it turns out he's like 45. But he acts like he's 25.
Daddy.
No, he does act like he's 25. Like I will stand. I've listened to hours and hours and dozens or hundreds of hours of Theo Von now. He does act like a 25-year-old. Like he does not acting like a 45-year-old. So that's his own problem. But he's still entertaining, and he's bringing on intelligent, interesting people like Ken Burns. It was an incredible, highly recommended listen.
What was your fave? What was your takeaway? What was your big this is my
so
I'm listening to this.
He's promoting his show that comes out, and Ken Burns is doing a new show that comes out, I think, on PBS. He says he's always worked with PBS, so I'll have to figure out how to find PBS on all the things, but whatever.
Our administration didn't cut public television yet. Can we still watch the news regularly?
Depends on what. I mean, yeah, like I guess the short answer is yeah.
Great. I don't know.
It's getting questionable by the day. And there's a whole program about the Revolutionary War, and it's 12 hours long. Like it's a huge segment. And he went through it in such passionate detail that I was like, the things that I thought I knew, I didn't. And the only thing, like I'm going to watch all 12 hours. 12 and
the words are hard.
Get along for the ride, guys. This is where we're at. Fireball, please sponsor us. I'm going to
Fireball,
be
you motherfuckers.
I'm going to be along for all of the hours.
This body's running on Jesus and Fireball.
Write that down. Instead of Mama Needs Wine, this body's running on Jesus and Fireball. That's a merch. Okay, so anyways, the takeaway that I took out of it was like...
I do think we need a lawyer on retainer. That was interesting. That's all this is.
Okay. I was like, oh my God, there's things that I know and there's so many things that I don't know. And this is really riveting. And that for the 4th of July, we should be celebrating with beer and explosions. And also we should take a note out of like tribalism and like maybe tell a story about our history. Like we can't just get drunk and explode things. Like I kind of think we should be telling stories about how we got here a little more. Like, as
that'll be fun. 4th of July. That'll be fun for all of us white people.
No. 4th of
July happened when our people pulled up and shot the fuck out of the natives.
No, we won't.
America!
We won't talk about it like that.
What stories are we going to tell? We're going to stories?
No, we're going to tell Heather, we're going to talk about how they tried there were people who were, and part of this is in the 12 hours of content that is not yet released. So I will tell you.
Wait, we got a lot of fun. We got a lot of fucking footage.
Got a lot to learn.
Crawl before you walk, before you run.
But it is not anything. We're really gonna glaze over the part where we took other people's land and there was an international, like a global war about land for America. But then we're going to talk about the fact that like there was a lot of people in America who were loyalists. Remember the loyalists to Britain, and then it wasn't just everybody wanted to. Heather, listen. Oh my God.
I'm listening to you the whole time. I hear you.
Now, what I think was the most like aha thing was that there were loyalists, and those are the people who were loyal to Britain, and then there were revolutionists who were like, we got to get the fuck out of this. And I kind of think that's what's happening in America right now.
You do?
I really do. I think that there are people who are like, oh, there's Antifa, and they think MAGA thinks it's an organization. Like the highest people in our government right now are saying, we are going to go infiltrate this organization. But an organization needs to be organized. There's not a leader. There's not a structure. That's just an ideology. That's like a group of people who say, I don't think that we should be fascist.
How do we bust down these fuckers' ideologies?
Which ones? Anyways, my point being is that I think...
What are you doing? Are we drilling into the water out here? Or are we getting the fuck out of here and getting some property
in Italy? Well, they were fascist once too. I'm just saying, I think that...
They still are. I think North and the South is still racist. Fuck.
I said fascist, not racist. Okay, but, potato. I'm just saying.
Make a new word for prejudice.
I think we should just tell stories of our history. And I think now what I'm hoping to do is watch Ken Burns and learn the stories of our history.
How do you tell stories without history without glorifying it when you're drinking and you're just lighting shit up? That's what I'm trying to rationalize in my mind.
I guess I do think...
How do you not sensationalize? How do you tell the story without sensationalizing it? Do you start your breakfast that morning? Like, we killed the people that day?
No, it's not what killed the people, Heather. Well, you know what? How about we just circle back in November when I watched the 12 hours of content? Because it's not you have to listen to you should. It's really good because Theo Von does, his thing that he does and makes it cheeky. He's like... oh, this is a love story to America. Or like, he does his weird stuff and Ken's like, yes, it is. Yes.
It was. Do you think it was passion, pure passion, the revolutionists for the loyal? Do you think their fight was the same, the loyalists and the revolutionists?
They're not the same. And they talk about that. Like, that's part of what I think, like,
it's fascinating.
Fired me up too, was like, no, we've been, Ken's point was like, we've been a divided country since the inception. Like, this isn't a new thing. I don't know. So I'm just like reinvigorated in history, and he's a great content creator.
Can I tell you, I very much feel that way. When everyone's panicking, I am either the most ignorant person in the room for what's happening in this country for not panicking. Like, I'm trying to find my truth to someplace in the middle with like what I can control with my vote, what I can control with who I'm raising, what I can control with my volunteer time, what I can control with all of those things. But like the sky is falling. I may be the most ignorant person in the room, but for me, this is just like the evolution. To your point.
Yeah.
It looks different. It feels different. It's probably just as scary. Maybe it's more scary. Maybe it is the end of the world. Maybe just this is coming. Maybe the ark needs to be filled up and the water drillings because
I don't think
to make us a boat.
Like, I don't think it has anything to do with Jesus. I think we spent a lot more of humanity in a command and control. That's how humans existed for a majority of humanity. And the United States was the first experiment that said, no, we don't need someone, the people will figure this out. And some of it was by accident. We were a republic and then also evolved to be a democracy because we were like, no, we can actually vote for some of these things. And he talks about that. Like, he talks about all of that. And I think we need to hear that a little bit differently than what we heard in high school history. Like, I think we need to hear it with the developed prefrontal cortex, the mind of an adult.
Does it talk about when they allowed people to vote, then how they trace but then how they trace voting lines? So like certain people's votes do certain things. And how you do that. Yes. And he talks about how flawed, like it's
already
flawed, right? Even the government and the republic.
Yes. But it's still, he says it's I think he said it was like still the greatest thing that's happened to humanity since the birth of Jesus Christ. Like, that's how he sees the American experiment.
Wow, that's interesting.
So, see?
Powerful.
It is. Okay, so even then we can still say, well, things get fucked up, but, like, let's just take a...
Do you believe we're the greatest nation in the world relative to the rest of the world? That we're still below Jesus? That's a statement.
Well, the way that he said it was because when we were formed, we were everything else is kingdoms. So yes, at the time. Because then, what has then happened is we've had a democracy. It's worked out very wildly successfully. And then other countries have adopted and almost we force that upon other people too. Like, don't forget that. And whether or not that's the right or wrong thing to do, that is politics. And I think that that's an interesting debate, and I could see all sides of all of that. Like, I don't have a whole lot of heartache about that.
The whole thing of like, every crew needs a foreman. And what's the maturity state of the country? What's the maturity state of the people? What's the maturity state
and
of
even the
medicine?
world? Like, nets of countries. We've made, like, if you really think about the world history, when we were formed, we were maybe the most incredible thing has happened since the birth of Jesus Christ because we gave freedom to the people for the first time in world history. That's incredible. That is really incredible. Now, all these other modern countries have adopted that. Like, they've become...
Who'd we give freedom to, though, at the time? Like, that also...
I know, I totally understand.
So I'm also trying to challenge you because, like, you're not a vaccinator. Like, I'm trying to challenge you in a way that's like, I know you as a person.
Then we had slaves.
Jessica.
And we stole the land from the indigenous people. And I think all of that's really fucked up. And I think about all of that. Totally. Yep. I get
freedom
that.
for who?
It's
and
flawed
that's
for
still
all
changing.
the reasons. Yep. But, considering the fact that, like, they're talking about putting TSA checkpoints.
You still believe the progress is notable, very notable, like a step down from Jesus notable, and that, do you think we continue to make progress? Do you think we're taking steps back?
No, I think it's really concerning. Today, I read an article.
I think it's scary that our babies go to school and we have to do violent intruder drills.
I agree with that, and I think it's really scary that they're talking about putting TSA checkpoints between states. I think that's fucked up. Like, that's not a nation. That's really, they're sending Texas troops to Portland, Oregon. That's civil war. Like, I think we are calmly talking about one of the most dangerous times in America since the Civil War. I really do. So I don't mean to alarm you about that. Considering.
What's the why? Do you understand the why? Why do they want to do checkpoints? What's the why? What is the why that not what Jessica thinks, not what Reason thinks, but what are they publicizing?
That they're looking for illegal immigrants or like dangerous people, but they're doing a lot of things to American citizens that are illegal moves. Like, you can't just do these things. I just don't think it's okay. We're changing the way that we've operated as a country from the very beginning. If that's what they do implement. But that's what I'm talking about.
Are there certain states that are more worried about than other ones?
I'm not worried about any of the states at all.
But are there certain states where is all states going to have a pass-through? Or will you get the Midwest to the West? Like, do you understand the tactics or the logistics of like...
They haven't explained any of this. They're just saying we're going to start putting TSA checkpoints throughout the country. We
need to pay for that, motherfucker.
Sorry, I just snorted a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel good about that. I don't like that. Qatar is going to put a military base in Idaho.
Why?
that's what the deal that's a deal. The deal makers that our leadership just made. They're going to allow Qatar.
Well, everyone's getting a check. I heard about that the other day. He's going to give everyone a tariff check for $2,400. It sounds like a Democrat and a Republican stimulus check that you're calling a tariff check, and you're fucking.
That sounds like socialism. That sounds like
fuck up.
That sounds like they call it universal income. That sounds like a big fucking socialist ploy. Like, I don't want that. Mm-mm.
I don't want your bullshit. No.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like any of it. So I vowed not to be political during.
I don't care.
This show.
Unfucking subscribe. And what about the water? Because that was my biggest concern 2 weeks ago when I left here, and it's still my biggest concern here.
Oh, the water at my house?
No. The water in general in the state of fucking Michigan.
Oh, I am worried about that. I did write. Tell me more. What are you worried about? I actually want to do a show about this.
I'm worried they're going to keep buying our land that's connected to our water.
I'm worried about that. Okay.
To it.
All right, we're going to do. Well, let's do a show about this. We can talk.
It's going to turn into fucking Beth Dutton.
So I have 2 shows that I want to do next. I want to talk about trad wives next.
Oh, what?
Trad wives.
Say it again.
Trad wives, traditional wives, but on the internet they're called trad wives. I've reached out to a couple. They haven't replied, but I want to meet some in Michigan who like claim to be trad wives.
What does that mean? You suck dick on Wednesdays, you cook dinner, you wear skirts. I wish I was a trad wife.
No, you don't. You want to be a sister wife. Don't get it twisted, sister.
That is what we're talking about.
Don't get it twisted, sister. No, a trad wife.
A couple of you traditionals want to live together, and I can be the crazy of the tradish that I'm in.
Okay, a trad wife.
But I ain't cooking, I ain't cleaning.
The video that I showed Matt.
She don't cook, she don't clean. Let me tell you, she got this ring.
That's not a trad wife. Trad wife's not okay with that. They submit to their husband, so they don't even order their own food at a restaurant. Their husband's ordered for. Not all of them feel this way, but like generally speaking, the one video that we watched was like, this is all the things that I do for my husband as a trad wife. He comes home, she gives him a hug at the door. She's always dressed well, you know, whatever. She will sometimes take his shoes off for him at the door. Dinner is made. She rubs his neck in the car so he's not stressed. I can't say it and be serious.
So basically that's like being married to me.
Who takes your shoes off for you?
Nobody. But Daddy does too. Daddy takes my shoes off.
Mike takes your shoes off?
Used to, yeah. My papa took his shoes off my grandma and called her Murphy and said, sit down, Murphy, I'll take your shoes off for you.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
Mm-hmm. I'm upset.
Here's the other show I want to do. This is serious. This isn't even funny. There's like a lot of land being bought in America by other countries.
That's what I'm saying. The data centers, the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
and then the water conversation. I want to talk about that.
Let's talk about that. Hey, we're going to put...
Those are upcoming episodes.
There is a much different conversation
between.
I thought
I punched it, but I didn't.
And this is an ignorant. I mean, whatever. I'll be provocative as fuck.
Okay, let's do it.
I don't know enough about nothing to know that, like, okay, put tariffs on the shit you're importing, but like, I don't give a fuck what you're importing and how cheap it's coming in relative to like if you're buying in my fucking backyard. Mm-hmm. So
I agree.
Again,
here's what I don't understand about these data centers is like, why does okay, so if you are a big mega company that's not an AI company, you're just like, you're a manufacturer, you're, you know, whatever, building something, and you use a lot of energy, the energy company charges you.
That's right.
I don't understand, and this is what I want to look into and like maybe talk to somebody who knows more than me. I don't understand why other consumers have to pay for Facebook Meta or OpenAI to use an outrageous amount of energy. If they're using energy, they gotta fucking pay for it. Like, I don't understand this. So anyways, I'm gonna unpack that and we're gonna put it on an episode. I'm gonna leave all that in because I wanna know. I wanna, like, maybe somebody knows something that we don't. Before we tap into the real tea, we've got a message from a new sponsor and a personal friend of mine, leadership coach Lisa Tarkington. Every single one of us can reflect on a time where they might have felt in a season of transition or feeling stuck trying to get to the next level of leadership and career development, perhaps shifting from a tactical execution to true strategic leadership. That leap can feel overwhelming and sometimes really frustrating, but you don't have to do it alone. So what Lisa does is she helps people that maybe feel stuck. Maybe they're battling from some self-doubt or just wishing they had stronger communication, wishing someone understood them the way that they're trying to convey themselves in certain areas of key leadership skills. Many people, including myself, don't realize that actually a coach is the one that can help you get to that next level. So Lisa is a personal friend of mine, and I've gotten to watch her journey helping people in all aspects of life, overcoming some of those skills that prevent each and every one of us from getting to the next level in our career is what she excels in identifying and then overcoming. She's done it herself, and now she's in the business of coaching others. So Lisa is an adventurer at heart. She's a guide by design. She's a certified coach through the International Coaching Federation with both corporate and entrepreneurial experience. She's going to put you first in guiding you to meet your goals and step fully into the leader you're meant to be. Here's the thing. Coaching works. 80% of the people who coach do report increased self-confidence that help them get to that next level. Over 70 benefit from that improved performance and stronger communication. The results do come through. Thousands of leaders have already grown through Lisa's coaching and workshops, and now it's your turn. So here's how you can find out. Head to lisatarkington.com/coaching and get your free consultation. When you talk to her, let her know that Jessica sent you or mention the podcast. Again, that's lisatarkington.com/coaching, because leadership isn't about getting things done. It's about becoming the leader you're meant to be.
Okay, so what's interesting to me about education.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I grew up with a first-generation educated father who was a public school teacher. My uncle was a public school teacher. My aunt was a public school teacher. My sister's a public school teacher. My sister-in-law's a public school teacher.
Yeah, you didn't have to do the research.
Like, I didn't have to do the research.
Your lived experience.
I lived experience, and I've lived through a couple generations and a couple decades. Mm-hmm. And all I know is about the people in my family is that they are the most incredible, intelligent, loving human beings in the whole world. And you mix that with teaching, and that should already automatically be six figures. And I fucking said what I fucking said.
Okay.
My family was teachers, and that was what I thought I wanted to do. And I went to CMU, and I ended up at SVSU, and I was going to be an English major. And at the very last minute said, fuck this, I'm going to get a comms and marketing degree, and I'm out of here.
Thank God we needed a Heather in comms and marketing, and that's how we met. Like, for real.
But
so I'm thankful for that.
Thank you, Mama. But all that to say, when I was also in college, being a teacher was a really hard job to get. You'd have 400, 2,000 applicants for one good job.
I had no idea.
The volume relative to the demand was way off. So there wasn't a huge volume of teacher jobs at the time. My dad always says that, like, I don't know whose administration it was, like John Engler, like fundamentally changed why you'd want to become a teacher in the state of Michigan.
In a good way?
In a bad way.
Oh.
I think that we have devalued, I think we expect a lot out of teachers, like we do out of healthcare, and we devalue our part in that.
I agree with that.
But back in the day, I feel like 90% of the people who taught us were like professional, smart, integrity, values that perhaps aligned with our
leaders,
own, like
truly
leaders, 90%
in their community, in their
fucking
subject.
Leaders. We got lucky. They did driver's training. They taught us, and I feel like my children are surrounded by 30% of the people with great intention, probably 20% of the people who don't get any credit, and then the other 50% are like, "You're fucking raising my fucking kid half the day," and I'm like, but again, I say that, and that's how people look at it. Are they raising our kids, or are they teaching our kids? And but I do find from we fundamentally devalued education. Maybe not devalued it in terms of what we think we deserve, but not what we think we owe. Education comes with cost. If you're not going to pay extra taxes, and you're not willing to send your kids to private school, like, debate what you want to fucking debate, but you're going to have to fight for education, and we're all going to have to figure out how to prioritize it.
And the one thing that I would want to take away is that education today and education 30 years ago when we did it, and then education even 50 years ago when it was maybe like at its peak in America, it has to evolve. We can't just say just because what we did 30 years ago is like how it should be done. No, like the world has changed. The world is getting smarter, and the things that we do to teach our children and how we evolve from an educational perspective needs to evolve as well. And sometimes I think we get stuck in.
All I will say is the two people that I know in my family who are still educating are fucking rock stars end to end, data driven, forward thinking, good values, all the things. But I believe they are the anomaly, not the rule. But I also think I make that up because I know them and I don't know education the way I did also when my parents were involved in it.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about like experience of the educational system? Like what's your takeaway?
I'm incredible. I also think like we live in an incredibly great area where like our kids are getting an exceptional public education, and I'm not even sure if it's relatable to like half of our audience. Like I don't even know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But like I'm pissed 20% of the time. I'm real irritated 5% of the time, and the other 80% of the time I'm entirely grateful for how our children, whether it be Bullet Creek or Midland Public Schools or the Michigan, wherever we're living in, however we're like. But I was generally disappointed in the last election. For Midland Public Schools relative to the investment.
I do want to talk about that.
I do a little bit. But perception to reality and the perception and the
I want to talk about it in the context of all of
whatever
education
you want to talk
funding.
about. I think that like I fundamentally believe that like education is like if you think about the epicenter of the things that are important, or like the center of the worm or the center of the onion or the center of a friendship, or like the center of what makes us evolve as humans is like education, right?
I agree.
With evolution.
It's a competitive advantage.
So for me, like unobjectively and religiously and through science and through my own values of how I'm trying to approach my own evolution as a human being and my children, like education's right up there with like Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about.
And for me, it's far superior. But yes.
It's how do you even know Jesus is if you aren't educated and the Bible wasn't put in front of you, so you had an informed decision of who you follow and who you don't. So like again, I could argue either way, and I would say that Jesus as the human would want you to be educated about who he is and what he does. But okay.
Right.
Fine. Very fucking important. Also privileged in the fact that I was raised with educators, went to a state fucking school and got a pretty decent education for probably too much still. Not a good one relative to what I've delivered with the brain.
I doubt that.
So no. I mean that in a way of like, I don't know. College taught me anything but grit and grinding it out.
That's
I didn't learn
still
much.
a lesson. That's compelling. If there is one thing that I think we should, I'm historically like Republican. To me, the way that I think about things is like I believe in capitalism. I believe we should do a lot of things of like trade and systems in that way. Like, I don't really think we should all put stuff into the pot and then distribute it and then like hope for the best. I just think value and cost are real factors that makes the world go around, and we can all work through that. But I think we should subsidize and overvalue things that give an entire society a level up, which is education. So if you don't want to subsidize healthcare, or if you don't want to subsidize housing, if you don't want to subsidize like a whole bunch of other things that come for the rest of your life, the one thing that you can do is make education accessible.
Do you want your kid to be the smartest person in fucking town and run a kingdom? Do you want your kid to be a leader of like-minded people with values and education of them?
And I think we have to think like all tides rise. So I think like if your kid is that thing.
People don't think that though.
I know. Well,
my kid's the star. The American dream is to be the hero.
And your kid can be the star. But if he's surrounded by a bunch of dum-dums.
That's what I mean.
Then
fucking dumb motherfucking dumb.
Then what are we going to do?
Then you're trying to create a kingdom and a fiefdom, and you want your child to rule versus be a leader.
And I think that's super problematic. And I'm not talking about our child. I'm talking about like our world.
Same.
Like if you want your peers.
They don't want to pay for it. Even in the public schools, they made a bunch of villains out of the millage. Then we're basically like, you want to compete with all the big schools all the way down to like as shallow as the uniforms, the athletics, all the way to the computer labs, but you don't actually want to pay for that, even though they're paying $300 to one, and we're paying $62 to one. So throw the data in front of the fucking people. Yeah. I'll say it right fucking now. Your fucking kids, if you're making six figures, I don't give a fuck. Don't go to B-dubs. The Smith family will not go to fucking B-dubs, and we'll pay another $100 on our taxes.
Yeah. And if it'd be $400.
Whatever. And if they mismanage 300 and 100, one of my kids, it's part of the evolution. Okay. So where you fucking invest in your money? Invest in your children. Invest in your community. Invest in education. That's the fucking takeaway. So invest in it. Make it your number one fucking value. It doesn't come free. Someone has to invest in it. So either we're going to argue that the very rich invest in it.
Well, then it becomes where it comes from. I think we both deeply agree that an increase.
This is not going to be that big of an argument in terms of what we think should happen.
You're not going to hear an argument from you and I. I think the end conclusion and what we will clink on is the fact that
fucking important to us, and it's our core fucking value.
So yes, deeply, and I
rant.
I think that there's
no need to rant.
How much do you think federal funding supports schools nationally?
10%.
Yeah. Okay. So on average, federal funding is about 10 to 15%. In Midland Public Schools, it's more like 8%. We take much less federal funding. And in other parts of Michigan, so even Rochester is 5% because it's a wealthy city, wealthy county. Other parts of Michigan is above the 15% Do you know why? Do you know what drives that?
Tax-based and social economic income in government? I don't know.
Social economic income because of the social economic needs. So
but that's still fucked up that Midland Public Schools is taking 8%. Also, half of Midland is below poverty line. I also feel like Midland thinks they were very rich, and then when you start to
so the
subset of people are rich, but on the aggregate level, we're not. We're half the community is below the poverty line. True or false? Midland County, but you're talking about Midland Public Schools. I'm talking Midland County.
I know, but you don't serve Midland County. My school serves
Midland County. Midland Public Schools parents.
They don't.
Pay the fuck up. You take 8% government aid when the government's giving us 4%.
We're talking federal government.
Right, exactly. That's still fucked up. The fact that Mike Smith and I can even spend the money we spend, and the government's going to subsidize 4% of the differential, we can afford more than that. I'm just saying. I see your point.
So the city, then the state. We
should be giving all 12% to the inner cities.
The state funds 56% of Midland Public Schools.
So if the state's funding 56%, and the federal government's
funding 8%. Local resources are funding 38% of Midland Public Schools. When I say Midland Public Schools, I'm talking about Midland High, Dower High.
I don't hate that number. I'm being argumentative for the sake of being argumentative, but how do you feel about that split? Think we afford more?
No, I think that's a really nice, appropriate number. There's a case study that I would say in Massachusetts that does it a little bit better. So local resources actually fund 51%, and state resources are 38%, and then they take less than 9% of federal resources.
How much money do they have per capita per human?
That's a good question. They get a total of $27,000 per student, and we only get $9,000 per student.
So I want to know the social and economic background.
Right.
Whatever that I don't even know the math, but I want to math the math.
So the variances are
per family, per whatever, what is the average household income of a Midland Public Schools?
It's a great point. What I've learned about how Massachusetts does it relies heavily on local property taxes is all that I have learned, and I know that there is a varying. So, do
you know what you pay on your taxes to send your kids to public school? I don't. That's ignorant of me. I have no idea. No, I don't know. I know I pay on my cell phone, but I don't know what I pay for my children's education. I have no idea.
What I know that Massachusetts did is that they did differentiate. If you make a certain amount, then you pay a less amount, and on an equity basis. And I don't understand it. And there were big charts, and I'm usually really good at that. But to spend the amount of time that I had to invest in understanding how Massachusetts did it, I couldn't do it.
I want to understand the income per household in Midland Public Schools on the aggregate level. Then I want to understand the pockets of disparity of income between the funnel of income. I don't know anything about this, but I'm just putting business terms. And then I want to understand relative to what you make per student at Midland Public Schools, what do you pay to fund that school? Because where I get real fucking pissy, pissy. I don't care about the details. Like, I say this all the time. I'm 5 years and my kids are out. 5 years and my kids are out.
Yeah, but you want to fund the continued education because it's not about just your kids, right? Like, I think that's part of the message here.
I don't care if you want to have pink night or black night or like you're pissed at because Todd's the teacher. I want to understand as a community. It's important to me whether my fucking kids go to Midland Public Schools or not. This is the community for now.
That you're living in.
That we're living in.
Well, and also...
And our values are tied to.
And I just think economic stability. So I don't...
So what am I
care deeply about my kids, and I care about the economic stability
at Mike
throughout.
Smith and I, let's say that our revenues... Let's say that our...
100,000. Average revenue, 100,000.
Say that.
Household
and
revenue.
On your taxes, you won't vote for a $2,100 versus a $2,600 increase, but you fucking buy. When I say you, I'm talking about Mike Smith and I. But you'll buy the basketball time, like.
Mm-hmm. Would you rather have it go through your taxes, or would you rather have to fund it personally?
I think it has to be both if you think about how it survives. Otherwise, the class gets. It has to be both. You have to look at it from a, what does this mean for me because I live here? Mm-hmm. And what does this mean for me relative to the other people around me because I live here? Like whether you want to tie it back to community or self-centeredness, tell me a reason.
So I have a couple.
You wouldn't want to invest.
I have a couple of things.
But then you also want to have a say. So what I see about people is they didn't want to give the money to Midland Public Schools because they made a narrative that the money was going to be spent in wrong ways, or the narrative was it was spent poorly before, or the narrative was make us more like they just proved it. I don't understand the why. I come from the position of I don't really fucking care the why. At $200 and some dollars.
It was $400 per household is the average. $400 per year.
Jessica?
I know, but it's still a huge amount of money. Like I just don't. I understand you don't give a fuck, but I can't click on air. I can hear it screaming in my ears. I know you're upset. I can. We have to empathize with the fact that $400 does matter to some people.
I want to know who it matters to. Did the people who can't afford the $400 care that it matters? Like,
then we're going to have a different conversation today, Heather, because I can't tell you who it matters to. I can just tell. You're going to argue with the wrong. You're not. Then we're not here to have that conversation. What I can tell you today is what I think we should discuss, because it's not personal about Midland Public Schools today. We can use it as a case study. We should be talking about education in America, and you're making an important case. It is an important case. So whether or not you have fucking kids at Midland Public Schools or Rochester Hills or Baldwin, Michigan.
Buy one last pack of cigarettes and don't worry about where your money's going for your kids' education. Because
like always, I think the answer is always fund it.
Fund it.
So then, but
challenge it and fund it.
Yes, but you're not going to have to sell it to me. So let's not argue that. Let's share with our listeners why that matters and like where else it comes from. So, first and foremost, one of the things that happened this year is that Donald Trump is promising to dismantle the Department of Education. Do you think that matters at all?
I don't know what he means by the word dismantle.
He wants it to be
make different.
He wants it to be. He wants it to be eliminated, and he wants the budget to go away. Here's what I would leave with you. That it matters, of what about it that matters. So Michigan as a whole, because let's get out of our own really cute little bubble of the like the less fund. We don't take very much funding from federal government at Midland Public Schools. Bullet Creek is a little bit different, but Midland Public Schools otherwise. So the national average is almost 15% of the budget comes from federal government. And this is by and large Title I budgeting.
Title I.
Do you know what Title I is? Because I think you do, and I'd like you to explain it from a personal perspective that matters to you. I can tell you what the internet tells me, but...
You go first. Give me the definition, and I'll tell you what it means to me.
So Title I funding is to support communities that are of lower income, and those lower income communities usually need increased special education. And it's not like for people who have intellectual disabilities necessarily, but they may. It does mean that they have just fewer resources far and beyond. So people that tend to be sometimes in rural communities, but not necessarily but purely just lower economic, they might need more help with reading. They might need programs in the summer that have, to prevent learning loss.
Well, here's what I know about Title I. Is that like in my world and the world that I grew up in and the world that I understand, and it may be very much different and my data might be wrong, like Title I means like more than 50% of your population of your school is below the poverty line. And I think in Michigan, and I don't know what it is now, it'd be 30 or 40,000 per household, per kid, I don't know what it is, but like Floyd Elementary is an example of a Title I school, which is where my sister-in-law Jen works.
And that's where
and Bullet Creek.
That's where
I went. That's where I went. But in Midland Public Schools, same thing happens. Everyone thinks that's the rich part. Okay, maybe fine. I don't actually know the data, but my sister also works at Central Park Elementary, the newest building. I would say the staff, the education, the data, the heart, like all the things that you and I talk about of like, not on the paper, but like the soft skills that make you want to do the things you do, they all have that. But at Central Park Elementary in Midland Public Schools, half of the school is below the poverty line, which means like the social and economic, like just lucratively, you are below minimum wage. You are likely on state
Title I? Does it have a significant amount of Title I?
Half. So Title I means half is below the poverty line. So Floyd Elementary and Central Park Elementary are below the poverty line.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yes. And generally, when you are below the poverty line, there are special services and likely accommodations that are required. And what I see is likely more than, but I also had a kiddo who I come from the opposite end of that, where my kids went to Title I schools. I went to Title I schools. So like a 504 plan is a plan in the state of Michigan that basically says like your kid needs certain accommodations to help them be the most successful in learning. The state of Michigan is obligated, and I don't know if it's Title I or not Title I, but like state law says they're obligated if the doctor says, if the parent advocates to make an accommodation.
The difference between is state law and federal. So Title I is a federal program. That's the difference between where the funding comes from. That's why it's interesting. That's why it's interesting. So what I also wonder is the 8% that goes to Midland Public Schools is the one school that you really specified that is a part of Midland Public School District.
How much is going to the Title I?
So a very large percent, and I can look at the number in a moment. Majority of what
that
comes
makes me
from
happy.
A majority of what comes from federal funding is to support Title I funding. That's the federal funding. Federal funding, and a small amount of the bucket for anywhere ever, but is largely allocated in almost every state for Title I funding. The states that get the most federal funding, which then become the most Title I funding, are Mississippi. I'm looking for it in my notes, but I'm recalling it offhand. Mississippi relies on 23.2% budget from federal funding, and South Dakota is 19%. The lowest reliance is New York and Connecticut at 7% and 5% respectively. So, and like I said,
those are disparaging numbers of government funds.
And then, so the point being,
but relative to the per capita, does that make sense? Are they fighting for, in Mississippi, they're really 23% of the population who need 23% of the funding. In New York City, is it really only 5?
No, because I think I think if you have more people, if you have more people who are less, it's a percent. It's not a per capita. The point being is that it is of need. So because most of the funding, federal funding, is a Title I level funding. The rest of it comes down to food aid, like USDA and other.
Okay, so explain that. Title I's not just education. What does Title I mean, Jess?
No, well, Title I does come down to, so I ask questions because I don't come from this. So I said, what does Title I even mean? And I don't know where it is in my notes, but Title I is largely like training for teachers and a lot of other things, but it actually isn't food. That's a separate federal allocation. If you're saying I want my kids at my school, my kids need food, it comes from USDA. Yeah. Department of Agriculture. It's federal funding, but it's USDA.
So does that feed into the 23%, or we get free lunches?
No, that's...
Is it part of the package of the 23%?
That's in the, so if we're saying 23% of Mississippi relies on budget from federal funding, it's a part of it, but most of that's going to be
food, education,
most of it's going to be Title
healthcare.
I. Most of that's going to be a Title I fund. That's a majority of what gets funded.
I need to define Title I, not to challenge you, but to rationalize it in my own mind.
Do it. But what I've read is that the core federal programs, Title I, Part A, funds targeted towards schools with high percentages of low income. Part A is the largest and most foundational federal education program.
We have an ESA in Midland.
Yes.
I have friends who work for the ESA.
Yes. IDA, individuals with disabilities, and then purpose of categorical grants. So
Title I's all about education.
Yes,
so Title I is a federal funding program designed to help schools with high percentages of students from low-income families ensure that all children meet state academic standards. How it works. Funds are distributed to school districts based on the number of low-income students, often measured through free or reduced price lunch eligibility. That's how you do it without discrimination. Districts then allocate the money to Title I schools. Schools can use the funds for additional teachers or student aides. I think about the kids who's in the wheelchair, or the kid who doesn't have a hearing, or the kid who can't focus, or the kid who can't whatever.
That's Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. That is separate from Title I. That is separate from Title I. But it is a component of how you get federal funding. Eliminating the Department of Education, that's what they're eliminating.
It's important, though. Each district's share is based on the number of children ages 5 to 17 living in poverty. Free and reduced lunch, because if you're hungry, and this just happened in Michigan, we weren't sure we were going to get free lunches.
So we can talk
about, you're hungry, what are you learning?
So we can talk about that too.
Are you and I happy if we're hungry?
No, of course not.
Do we thrive?
There was a part of me who would have said, that's the parent's responsibility. Like, if food is just free. But I now think that we need to support our children, and the parents don't have access to that food. Like, it is about the children having an opportunity to step above what their parents did or did not offer them. Like, I just think we need to support children.
Okay, so this is interesting. It's very simple. Like, my sister would be like, yeah, you dumb bitch, you had to Google this. Like, I could tell you these 5 bullet points, which is interesting, which is fun. So it's like how schools can use the Title I funds. Reading and math, number 1. If you can read, you can add, and you can do the things. Like, that's important. Before and after school. Care, tutoring, programs, whether you're a working parent making 6 figures and you're trying to be the best you can be, or you're a parent who can't get off their shift at fucking Chick-fil-A because they're dicks on Sundays. I think that's important. Like, nobody works 8 to 3:30, 6:30 to 4. Like, before and after, they say, is very important for all kids. Evidence-based literacy, summer programs, food, family engagement, the community piece.
Yep.
Whenever I peel back the onion and I look at the United Way or basic education programs, or like the fundamental of humanness, some things that we need to teach are really hard to be quantified, even in a state budget. It's hard to quantify what it means to like show up and cook healthy meals. Like, if you've never been taught anything but starvation or fast food or government funding, or your mom was on crack and you buy Kool-Aid, it just comes back to like the point of like, I don't have the solve. I don't understand. Like I kind of understand the why, and I mostly kind of understand the where we're at, and I don't really have the solve.
Part of what my point is that like us being underfunded as a community that has lived,
it's a problem. You're panicked. It's a problem. We should all be panicked. That we can't do it right here. We're not doing it right nowhere.
That's my
ma'am.
Like we've lived.
I hear you
so well. Let's think outside of our really nice bubble.
Get it together.
Yes, let's live outside of our really nice bubble. Okay, the rest of Michigan. If we look at just what if you use Midland Public Schools as an example, we just did a deep dive as to what Title I covers, and Midland Public Schools gets only 8% of federal funding, which is a large percent of Title I schools. The rest of it is largely state funding, and then some supplemental local funding, which if you want to get into the debate about the local funding, we can do that. Then
pass the millage, you cheap fucks.
So the millage was passed. That was an additional. That was an additional in addition to the millage, by the way. If we want to discuss local politics, politics.
Do you think they misused the money? You think it's right for this community to fucking challenge it?
If you want my actual opinion.
I do.
But I don't want you to interrupt me. I'll give it succinctly. I don't want you to interrupt me, and I don't want you to hate me. My actual opinion is, first and foremost, I will always fund education. So I would have voted yes if that were my district to vote for. I would have voted yes. But looking at it critically, all of the school millages are like all of the actual school funding. That was an add-on ask for money from everything that I could see doing the research for today. Doing the research that I did, and I did everything that I could do to try to say, like, how do I understand the budgeting nationally, state-wise, then locally, and then in this case study of Midland Public Schools, and what was this enormous funding request? Was that different than millages? And it wasn't. The millage was passed the year before. So standard budget was passed as it was. This was an add-on. What the people saw was millages for education have been voted on yes for a very long time in Midland. Like,
we've never challenged it.
It's never been a challenge.
Interesting.
And then all of a sudden, there was a huge request, but then the turnout to vote no for this massive request for new buildings was very high. It was a very high no. 68% of people said no.
I had the slide put in front of me at one point by Penny Miller Nelson, and like it was interesting for you. Like I'm not challenging you like on the podcast. I'm challenging you to like be the
challenge me on the podcast.
No, but I remember when Penny Miller, like, however it came out or whatever it was for, like, I don't actually know the details of it, but like at a high level, like what I remember from like a P&L owner was like, we are being asked, I'm making the numbers up, but we are competing against a school where individually per household,
I saw that,
we're paying $63 a kid, and the average competitive school, end-to-end, sports, education, whatever you care about, band, fucking,
I heard that,
they're paying $300.
Yep.
So how are we, to me, I was like, I don't give a fuck what you do with it. If $4 of this $400 is going to something to make us competitive, then fuck it.
The only thing that I have to respond to that is that apparently the opposition of all of this funding.
I love this because I have friends who opposed this who voted it, but nobody could ever tell me why they voted no.
All of the messaging about what this funding was for was about building new buildings. Nobody ever said, well, if we had more space for science, we could do blah, blah, blah outcomes.
Story? Oh, with the comms? Not enough comms?
Not enough comms. There was no story. They were just like,
when she first
we're going to build buildings. We're going to build buildings. All it was we're going to build buildings. Nobody was like, oh my God, imagine the
build big things, do big things.
But truly, like, and when I went back into this week, I was like, what are the buildings going to do? I couldn't find anything that said what the fuck the buildings were for.
They should have just started with the data point that I told them to start with. You are investing $64 a kid relative to your social economic background. And people who make your dollars in other districts are investing $300 a kid.
They followed.
And then let's argue. Let's not argue about what it's going to cost to invest. Let's argue about what you're going to do with the investment. And that's where I think the school district failed, and also the community failed, and it was us against them. The school, it's the same thing I'm posting in corporate. Corporate versus the business. Corporate versus the market.
It's completely accurate. It's completely true. The messaging from the beginning was wrong. The messaging is
to invest more. But let's agree on
how it's going to be invested with the outcome. So they said
maybe it is a new building for and everyone's going to have a difference.
But they might have said,
here's the fucked up part though. Everyone is still involved in self-interest. It's very difficult even to say, okay, we're going to invest in the kindergarten class, and Peyton might need to be invested because she needs to read better, and Charlie needs to invest because he's fucking blind and he needs an aid. First world problems become first world problems, and at the end of the day, to me, it's still $427. Fuck off, pay it.
I agree, but it is about the messaging. It's not about the payment. If that money is going into the school and nobody is saying they're raising the the teaching staff, if it's all about constructing a building, isn't that kind of a bummer? Nope. I guess if I'm looking critically,
you say, okay, so I hear you. They didn't talk about the KPIs. They weren't willing to say, we are going to put a math and science metric in here that makes us more successful. We're going to put a community thriving metric that makes make us more successful. We're going to put
I honestly would rather raise my taxes $400 to pay my teachers $400 than build a building. And I think our people felt that. I think that
was the right thing?
I'm giving a stirred up response to I would always
use my $427 to pay Auntie Jen and Auntie Becky because they're the educators, and we're not going to build another fucking fiefdom. Invest in the fucking classroom.
Part of my provocation is that the message was we're going to build buildings, and kind of fuck you, you're not doing anything with the buildings you got. Do better. I don't know. I think there is a little provocation.
You're gonna invest in the 20 teachers you have that are educated this way. And
if you want $400, do better with our people. Maybe build a building, but you don't need 5 buildings.
So is that our respect to just vote it down? Or do you and I both have voted down, and we're not voting it down, but we want our money to go this way? What is the people's responsibility in this?
Well, I think if I were to have a clink message would be, don't click. You can't click. You can't click.
You can clink, but you can't click. Double click that mouse, bitch.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen.
Of the people.
We know flat out.
Educators.
Between 20,000 and 190 of you are either dialed in at some level or at all levels. So at the aggregate level.
Subscribe on YouTube. Bitches.
Don't be a fucking dick.
Midland Public Schools.
Raise it up.
Has $110 million of expenses. They have a little more expenses than they do income, is what is publicly disclosed.
So we subsidize that with the 8%.
Yeah, those are probably those Little Caesars things that you get. You know what I mean? Those fundraisers.
Sell the pizza, bitch.
Okay.
That Little Caesars things.
I think. I mean, that wasn't a joke. That was genuine. The classroom expenditures are 63% of that. Supporting services, including transportation. Supporting services are 35%. Transportation is 10%.
Biggest thing to affordable food and healthcare is your mobility to get there. I feel like what's important to acknowledge is that our children benefit from really great education for very little money relative to our contribution to that.
Thank you for listening to Stirred Up. If you like what you heard, please subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Follow us on your podcast apps. Please send it to a friend. Leave a comment. Add a rating. Every little bit helps. We look forward to seeing you next week.